Welcome to Fitz Painting Repairs Garage. Today's project, 1980 FLH shovel head. We're having some issues with clutch dragging on this one, and customer stated that he had broke the clutch cable and replaced it himself, and then he couldn't get the adjustment right. So I went out, did a mobile repair on it. I went to his house, did the adjustment, got him up and going. But he said after a little bit of riding, the bike has been dragging on the clutch. So when you're in gear and you have the clutch handle in, the bike wants to creep forward on you still, so it's not disengaging all the way. So either we've got to redo the adjustment, or possibly there's something inside the clutch that needs to be repaired. We could not get the bike to fire up to verify because the battery was dead. So we got the battery out and we're charging it. That's all we've done to the bike so far, other than a quick visual inspection. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this bike down. We're going to do the clutch adjustment on it. Back up in there behind the primary clutch housing is where the cable runs down. You have an adjuster tucked in back there behind your coils and all that. Your starter relay, your coils. You got your starter relay right there and your coils, and then the adjuster's back on the cable right up in there, right there. So we're gonna get up in there. We have to pull this cover off, the derby cover, to get in to do the adjustment and to slacken the cable. So we'll get that done, and if not, if that doesn't solve the problem, then we're gonna have to pull the primary, check all the tension on the pressure plate springs. So that's where we're going to go with this particular project for right now. There are a few other things on it that need to be done. Petcock is leaking fuel. We got a brand new one right there. The brake, front brake is leaking where the line attaches to the reservoir, and the front brake is dragging fairly heavily. So it's a little bit hard to push. Luckily, we had a couple people to help push it up on the trailer. So that's where we're at with this particular project, and we're going to be working on it. We should get this one up and going today. Hopefully it was just a quick adjustment, but if not, we'll tear into that clutch and figure it out. So that's where we're at. But we do have another project from the same customer. This one's going to be a long-term project. Going to take a look over here at it. A 1959 Cushman. Possibly Cushman Eagle. I believe that might be the model for it. We really haven't done a whole lot of looking into it. We just got it in here up on the lift for now. Front tire's flat on it. As far as I know, the machine ran. But previously it had been in another shop where the individual that owns that shop started tearing into it. Said that the engine has low compression. It's down in the mid 70s. On compression on this. I haven't looked up the specs, so I don't know what is normal on it. So that's where we're going to go. But he said that it needs to be torn down, at least the top end done, but most likely we need to split the cases, pull that completely apart, go through it, and do a full-on engine rebuild, as far as I know. But as what I understand, it did run prior to it, but there was a clutch problem with it, or transmission problem. I'm not 100% on what it was doing. Haven't talked to the customer in depth on it. He just asked me to pick it up from the other shop and bring it to my shop and see if I could get it up and going. So that's where we're at on that. This one's going to be a long-term project. I do have a few other things going on. I got a little dirt bike I'm working on, replacing carburetor and brakes on that. I've got front end parts and stuff I need to do on. I got to do fork seals on my Kawasaki sidecar package. So that's where we're at. But we're gonna be working on this stuff. I do not do videos for how-to tech tips, stuff like that. You know, I will give you some advice as I'm going through it. Primarily all I do is document my projects, what I've done for my customers, so that they can just go on and look at it and share it with their friends. And so that way I don't have to have customers hanging out in the garage. So I'm just working from home. This is a small garage, small shop. I'm not a big shop. I don't like having enough people hanging around just as a distraction. Doesn't mean you can't come over and check it out, talk to me about it. But while I'm working on the bike, I don't like people hanging out in the garage. So that's where we're at. We're going to work on this particular machine a little bit later. We got the battery over on charge. Hopefully she takes a full charge and gets this bike up up and running, do the clutch adjustment on it, and take her out for a little test drive. But I got to do bleeding. At least I got to see if I can tighten that line up there to get it's leaking right where the line attaches to the reservoir. So when you grab the handle, you hear squish, and it's got air in the system, so the front brake's dragging. So we're gonna bleed the brakes out, try to get the front brakes going, air up the front tire, of course check the oil levels and stuff like that on it, and see if we can get this fired up, do the clutch adjustment, and hopefully she's up and running and ready to go back to the customer. And then we'll start digging into the cush bin when I've got some time. Probably gonna end up tearing that motor off of it completely, splitting the cases, and at least having the whole entire top end. If I can get away with just honing the cylinders, putting a new set of piston rings in, that's the route we'll go. But most likely we need to do the head, valve guide, probably gonna have to replace valve guides, valve faces, and then maybe springs. Possibly we need to do the pistons, but most likely we're gonna tear it all the way down, pull the crank out of it, change the bearings in the bottom end. Only if it needs it though. We'll pull it all apart, measure it, see if it's within spec. So, and that's where we're at with our projects. So if you guys are interested in this stuff, hit the like button, share it, subscribe it. You know the routine, guys. I ain't got to keep repeating it all the time. All right. Have a good one.